Hello, recruits. You're gathered here today for a top-secret mission, Operation SAM, Support America's Military. We need you to learn everything you can about the branches of our military so that you can support our service members and their families. But first, you need to be briefed on the basics. There are 300 million people in the United States and less than 3 million members of the U.S. military. That means each one of us is protecting 100 of you. We've got your 6. That means we've got your back every day. So when you see a service member or a veteran, say thank you for your service. We appreciate it more than you know. Now it's time for the first step of our mission. Grab your parachutes and let's get ready to jump into the United States Army. I've landed at a Michigan Army base where U.S. Army troops are training for their missions. For your mission, recruits, you need to learn these facts. There are more than 1 million soldiers in the United States Army. It is the largest branch of the U.S. military. About half are on active duty. The rest are in the National Guard and the Army Reserve. Troops in the Army are ground forces, which means they defend and protect the United States and its allies on land. All the branches of the military protect and serve our country, but each branch has its own rituals and traditions. The Army, for instance, has its own unique battle cry. Let's hear it, soldiers! Hoorah! I'd love to stay and train with these soldiers, but we're on a mission. The next step of our mission is to meet up with the United States Navy. Being on the water is so refreshing. Here's what you need to know about the Navy. The U.S. Navy defends the United States at sea and keeps the seas safe for all American ships and our allies. They defend us on the water, above the water, and below the water. There are more than 400,000 members of the U.S. Navy. More than 300,000 are on active duty, and the rest are in the Navy Reserve. Got that, recruits? Bravo, Zulu. Some branches of the military have their own special fight songs. The Navy's is called Anchors Aweigh. I'm an Army man, but that is one catchy tune. Now it's time to leave the Navy behind, though, and get ready to meet the U.S. Air Force. Now that we've landed, let's meet our third branch of the military, the U.S. Air Force. There are more than 500,000 members of the U.S. Air Force. More than 300,000 are on active duty. The rest serve in the Air Guard and the Air Force Reserve. The Air Force is responsible for aerial warfare and air defense, as well as air support for the other branches of the military. But not everyone in the Air Force is a pilot. There are also mechanics, computer experts, doctors, engineers, and more. In fact, that's true for all branches of the military. Not every service member is in combat, but every service member is vitally important. The Air Force has its own special creed. A creed is a statement of what we believe. This one is called the Airman's Creed. I am an American airman. I am a warrior. I have answered my nation's call. I am an American airman. My mission is to fly, fight, and win. I am faithful to a proud heritage, a tradition of honor, and a legacy of valor. I am an American airman, guardian of freedom and justice, my nation's sword and shield, its sentry and avenger. I defend my country with my life. I am an American airman, wingman, leader, warrior. I will never leave an airman behind. I will never falter, and I will not fail. Before we move to the next phase of Operation SAM, I think it's about time I let you recruits go on a solo mission. If you have a smartphone, take it out now and go to airforce.com/Airman Challenge. If you don't have a smartphone, team up with a fellow recruit who does. Try your hand at a simulated Air Force mission and see how you score. Good luck, recruits. Darn it! Oh, hi, recruits. How'd you do with your Air Force mission? Not easy, is it? But we can always try it again later. But now it's time to push on with our mission. Let's say goodbye to the Air Force and join up with the United States Marine Corps. The members of the U.S. Marine Corps are trained to handle amphibious operations. They defend our country on the land, on the water, and in the skies. The Marines are trained to be the first troops into battle. There are more than 210,000 members of the Marine Corps. Most of those are on active duty, and the rest are in the Marine Corps Reserve. Like the Army, the Marine Corps has its own unique battle cry. Tell us what it is, Marines. Hooah! The Marines' motto is Semper Fidelis, Semper Fi for short. It's Latin for always faithful. The Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines are the 4 largest branches of the armed forces. But there are still 2 more very important branches. Are you ready to push on, recruits? We may get wet, because we're heading out with the U.S. Coast Guard. Whoa! When the Coast Guard has an emergency, they move mighty fast. Our Coast Guard keeps U.S. waterways safe. Unlike the Navy, the Coast Guard has law enforcement responsibilities. That means they're like the police of the sea. They also perform search and rescue missions and protect the sea and its wildlife. There are about 50,000 members of the Coast Guard. Most of them are on active duty. About 8,000 are in the Coast Guard Reserve. The motto of the U.S. Coast Guard is Semper Paratus, which is Latin for always ready. The next branch of the U.S. military is the newest one. It was just established in 2019. And to meet up with them, we're going straight up. Let's meet the United States Space Force. Technology in space has become critical to our lives on Earth. For example, we depend on satellites for GPS, for the TV shows we watch, for military operations, and much more. The 16,000 members of the Space Force defend those U.S. interests in space. The motto of the U.S. Space Force is Semper Supra, which is Latin for always above. You've met the 6 branches of the U.S. Armed Forces: Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and Space Force. But there are still 2 more uniformed services: the United States Public Health Service Commissioned Corps and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. They don't fight in armed conflicts, but they work to protect America's health and environment. Operation SAM is almost complete, but not quite. I have 2 more tasks for you to complete. Almost 40% of military members have kids, and military life can be hard for kids. They have to move frequently and start from scratch making new friends. And sometimes they won't get to see their dad or mom for months. If you know someone from a military family, reach out and make friends. Give them your support. Military parents like me would really appreciate that. You may think you don't know anyone from the military, but I bet you know some veterans. Veterans are people who used to be members of the military, but they finished their service. Because service members go above and beyond for our country, they're doing things that are difficult and even life-threatening, they receive benefits for the rest of their lives, like health care, education, help finding jobs, and more. Adjusting to civilian life after the military can have its challenges. That's why many veterans enjoy the support of veterans groups like these. You or your friends may have family members who are veterans. Veterans are everywhere, and you're going to prove it. For your very last task, recruits, use your smartphones to search online for famous veterans. Actors, politicians, rock musicians. See who you can find. If you don't have a smartphone, team up with a fellow recruit who does. See? Veterans are everywhere. Without service members and veterans, this country would be a real soup sandwich. And now, recruits, I salute you. Your performance during Operation Sam has been exemplary. After learning about the military, I hope you take a new pride in this great country we defend. Mission accomplished.